Hello and welcome to Casting Roles. We're a bunch of theater nerds who play Dungeons and Dragons and other TTRPGs. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're liking the show, please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. You're going to find us on social media. We're on Twitter at Casting Roles and on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Casting Roles ILM. Our videos are uploaded on our YouTube channel every Friday. But let's go ahead and start the show. So agency members, after your multiversal travels across many of the planes of existence, you've carved your way diplomatically through Celestia, combatively through Acheron, and now technologically through Mechanus, where you found yourselves at the arcade, where for some reason the essences of Primus have been divided up among 4 video games. Kivuli had conquered the Street Fighter fighting game, and while Sarah G, Ronan, and Danny were diving into the racing game, the farming sim romance simulator, and and the Duck Hunt U. And through a series of events, Ronan was facing off against the Pink Rider for the final bout of his game. Sarah G was running to escape from the 3-headed goose that was charging down to take them down. And Danny had failed to romance anyone in a romance simulator and decided to place the coin of Cord into the machine and was sucked back into the game only to have Cord pixelated and materialized there, saying how much he hated Mechanus. So with that in mind, we are back up to the top of our round of actions here. And moving away from Danny for a moment, we cut to Ronan. Ronan, you're out on the open track. The Pink Rider is racing alongside of you. What would you like to do?
I'm going to try to wedge them in behind the back of my light cycle.
Okay, so you're going to try to get ahead of them so you can cut them off? Yeah. Okay, so that'll be a contested dexterity check. So go ahead and make your dexterity check against the Pink Rider.
And I was going to ask, can I see, like, where, like, we are in relation to the lines we've put down?
Yeah, so you guys have kind of been just traveling straight for the most part. There were a couple places where you kind of cut in and out on each other. So the lines that you made are behind you pretty much. Like you haven't made like any square cuts.
Any kind of loop or anything?
Yeah, not yet. Cool. Mm-hmm.
Dexterity check. Is there any way I can buff this?
Is there?
If Ronan has access to, doesn't think he has access to guidance or anything.
Can I bonus action, cunning action to dash?
Absolutely. So you would have advantage on your dexterity check.
Okay. Would have been a 13, so I'm glad. So that is a 17.
Rolling a 14. You are able to pull ahead of the Pink Rider, and you get about 2 motorcycle links in front of her with your dash maneuver. And you have a chance here if you'd like to try to cut her off and try to see if she will hit your line. You can do that. So I'd like to do that. This will be a contested series of rolls to see if you destroy her here or if she's able to dodge out of it. So kind of like thinking like quick maneuvering back and forth. So we're going to roll a series of D6s. And so the first D6 is reaction time for you. So go ahead and roll a D6. And if you beat her, then you cut without her realizing that you're going to cut.
I rolled a 1.
I rolled a 2. So she knows you're about to cut. And it's just a matter of, is her reaction time fast enough to match your cut? Kind of like when you're playing Snake, like can you turn and avoid the thing? So another contested D6.
Rolled a 1.
So I also rolled a 1.
Race to the bottom.
And so you both you turn at the exact moment that she does, and instead of cutting like close to you, she actually cuts a few links behind. So when you turn back to face the other direction, you're still ahead of her going into the next round, which puts you at the advantage. We're trying to catch her off at the next time. And that cuts over to Sarah G. Sarah G, you had just picked up the 3 spread firing piece. You still have 3 bullets of fire left, and the 3 of the shots for the 3 spread. And you leapt over the goose after you knocked it out, and it's kind of like you go into a moment where the screen kind of goes like sideways for a moment, and it suddenly becomes a 2D runner. And there's things to jump over to kind of escape from where the goose is. There's also like coins and things spread out here that you could grab if you like. But you do notice at the very edge of the screen, like up 2 levels, there is a heart rotating in space. So
I'm gonna go for the heart.
You're gonna go for the heart. So that'll be 2 acrobatics checks.
Okay.
To try to clear the first level and then up to the second one.
And acrobatics, which is not great for me. That is a 16.
Okay. So that gets you on to the first level.
And second one is an 18.
An 18, that's exactly what you needed. So you jump up to the first level and kind of leap over some rocks, and then you kind of jump across a gap up onto an upper level that curves up to the heart. You hit the heart and it spins for a moment over you and then kind of falls in, and one of your hearts goes back up, so you're up to 3 out of 4 hearts. At that moment, the camera kind of swings again, and it's looking behind you with you running towards the camera, and you see the goose, like lightning flashes, and the goose is diving out of the air behind you, and it's kind of snapping at your heels.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's going to make so these are contested checks, so it's going to try to bite you, and so you just can roll a d20 and add your dexterity modifier to try to dodge out of the way of 3 bites. So the first one, I
rolled a 19 plus 2, so that's 21.
So you jump over out of that way, and it's kind of like one of those where like it telegraphs a little bit where it's going, and you've got like 3 lanes of traffic you can slide into, and you just slide over into the right lane as one of the heads like shoots out and snaps down and misses you. The second one, I'm rolling like dog shit.
I rolled 12, so that's 14.
I rolled a natural 1.
Oh my god.
And so this one kind of snoops out to the other side and smacks down, and you're able to dodge it. And for the final one,
I rolled a 2, so that's a 4.
Uh-oh.
I rolled a 4.
Oh god.
So what kind of happens in this moment is like the goose snaps out, and you jump just at the right moment, and you land on its beak for a second and then hop off, and you don't take damage, but it's not stunned in that moment as it's kind of going for you. At the exact moment that you're getting like the indicator that there is an obstacle coming, but it's like in those running games where you're looking behind you, it's like flashing over the lane that you're in. So you can either get out of that lane, or you can try to power through the obstacle because you don't know what's on the other side.
I'm going to get out of the lane.
Okay, cool. You slide out of the lane and you run past as the camera swoops back around again, and you see that there was a power up, but you would have had to leap over a chasm to get to it. But you kind of slide out of the way. The power up goes past, and then we cut back to Danny. So the photo drawing of Cord is appearing there as his text bubble pops up with, God, I hate Mechanus. At the same time, his little sprite character is twice the size of your sprite character in your farmhouse. Well, I didn't quite expect to be called here of all places.
Yeah, well, you gave me a coin, so coin go in machine.
That makes sense. Is there something just unsurmountable that you would call upon my aid?
You said you could fix the bond I have.
Interesting. Let's investigate your bond a little bit, shall we? And he kind of sprite figure kind of walks around you, but you see like his picture changes and he's like casting a spell. And like little points of lightning like shoot around, and you just see for a moment this like cloud of energy pour out of your sprite up above your head, and you just see like a roiling mass of chat comments, emojis, like gifts and subscribes, like kind of roiling around themselves. I don't quite understand the nature of this patron. It's usually devils or demons or fae. This seems to be a mixture of all of those. What do you call it?
It's called chat.
Chat.
Yeah.
A fickle beast.
Not always nice.
Well, let's see how we can fill in the gaps here. Why did you give yourself to chat?
I wanted to be famous no matter what. And everything that came with that.
Well, I'm not about necessarily fame, but I'm quite a fan of victory.
And I want to fight.
Well, we can maybe work that out. But we've got to deal with this first. And he kind of releases, and the cage of lightning that was containing chat vanishes. And you just see like this swirling mass fills the farmhouse, and the game begins to like glitch out and go jagged until eventually like swirling, the farmhouse simulator game ceases to exist. You are in a cloud of like Final Fantasy space for a final boss where you're like, you know, I thought I was fighting against this random dude, but it's actually God. And so this is
JRPG heaven.
JRPG heaven. And chat appears, and it's you and Cord, and it's now a like a two-person turn-based combat simulator against chat. And so your sword kind of appears and you are getting into space. And he kind of reaches out and touches you for a moment on the shoulder. And he says, well, you'll find their powers are quite out of reach at the moment. Maybe try a bit of these. And you feel this jolt of lightning energy shoot through you. As we cut to Ronan. So Ronan, you turned. The Pink Rider was able to dodge your attack, but she dodged too quickly, and so she's a little bit behind you. What do you want to do?
We're both driving like dads, I guess.
Yeah.
I will. Let me see something. Okay, can I want to try to do a brake check.
Okay.
And can I make a investigation roll because of how they've been driving this whole time?
Okay. What are you trying to find out from them?
I'm like, have they favored like trying to avoid going to one side or the other? Are they right-handed or are they left-handed?
So was this computer program designed with like specific behaviors? Absolutely. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
This could be a multiplayer. I don't know if I'm on a LAN or not.
Yeah. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
that is. Hang on. Did I roll it? Is that a 2? Yeah. Okay. So I rolled a 22.
Okay, 22. Yeah, you've noticed that like the Pink Rider has never taken a right turn. Like, like as their dominant turn. They've used rights to get back into a track, but anytime that they've like avoided or tried to cut you off, it was like swooping in from the side and then trying to cut left or cutting to the left away from you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to feint them like I'm about to break right, and then like cut hard on the left. So I shift my position to like where I am on the bike, like I'm about to lean down into one turn, and then like throw it hard in the other direction. Okay.
So we'll do a little bit of deception and then coupled with an acrobatics check. So make a deception roll and then an acrobatics check.
Okay. Deception.
And against their perception. Okay.
That is a 23.
Okay. And then your acrobatics check.
13.
A 13. So with a failed perception check, they think that you are going to cut to the right. And so you see them kind of begin the process of like cutting away from that turn so they don't get caught by it. And then you swing to the left. So they have an opportunity here to avoid your tail. It is a pure dexterity check. All of my dice. I need to buy new dice. So as you cut to the left, you slide, like your character kind of slides into this turn and almost kind of like switchbacks the way they were coming, and it creates this tunnel between the two lines that you've created. And as they do have space where if they whipped around and followed your path, they could complete that. But instead, she overcommits into the supposed right-hand turn and drives smack into your blue line, and you see the pink bike like shatters into a million lights and spreads around the stadium as you zoom off, and suddenly out of nowhere a black and white checkered banner appears in front of you, and you drive across it and it says "Finished. Player 1 wins."
I do a 2-wheel drift, like you're a power slide, like
absolutely. It's like the Mario Kart, like the camera angle shifting, and it's just showing the blue rider like traveling through the thing. As you pop back out of the game and you're at the finish screen, and the point tally is kind of going up, and you see your blank space appears at the first slot, pushing down the Primus tag, and you have an opportunity to put your name in as number 1.
Let's go.
Good job, Ronan.
Yeah.
And 300 tickets pour out of the machine into your lap, and you now have, as same as Kiv, 300 tickets.
All right, sticky hand time.
High five. All right.
Sticky hands for everybody.
Yep. And we pop back over to Sarah G as you've successfully dodged the 3 attacks from the goose, and you've kind of gone back over, and it cuts back to where the goose is behind you, kind of flying in your direction, and you get the sense that you're in a straight shot here where you could shoot at the goose, but there's a few obstacles that you'll have to dodge along the way. So what would you like to do, Sarah G?
Now, my gun holds 6 rounds, and I've been shooting 1 at each head. Can I take 2 shots at each head?
So you have 3 rounds left, and because you have spread active, if you hit all 3, it would be 3 shots to all 3 heads.
Okay.
Okay, and it was a 17 or higher on your attack roll.
Okay. 7. That's 14. That's not going to do it.
You have advantage because of the fire.
Oh, that's right. Second roll was a 12 plus 7. That's a 19.
Okay, so you fire a 3-shot spread of flaming bullets, and they into the goose, and it kind of rears back for a moment. What about your second shot?
Second shot. 14 plus 7, 21.
3 more shots as it rears back, like you hit underneath its beak, like on all 3 heads.
And last shot, nat 20 and a nat 19.
Fantastic.
Nice.
So in video game logic, what would the cut scene of Sarah G annihilating the goose that's hunting her look like?
I think the way you kind of narrated, where the first one kind of knocks the heads back, second of them knocks them all the way up, and the third shot just chops all 3 heads off.
Like,
it was like boom, boom, boom.
and there's just a rain, because this is that type of game, a rain of goose blood, and Sarah G's running, but like dodging the rain of blood, and you cross over the finish line, and the title screen pops up. The goose hunts no one now. As Sarah G wins the game, and you pop back out of the game, and you kind of look around to see Ronan and Kiv are also out of their games, as the screen pops up, and you can put in your name at the top slot, and 300 tickets come out for Sarah G. Danny. So you are facing off here against chat, and Cord is watching you. What does Danny do?
Yeah, so I've got my big sword. I've got my spells. This looks crazy.
Good options.
Difficult. Yeah, I'm gonna cast Shatter on these people.
Okay.
Use spell slot because I'm not gonna use any of my pack spells right now.
Yeah.
They have to make a con 17 check.
Con 17. That is a 16.
Oh, so they take 22 damage.
22 points damage. And you watch as like the spell kind of goes out, and it looks different than you are used to, like with your normal spell magic. There's just like this thunderous cacophony of energy, tinged with like shards of lightning around the edges that explodes where chat is. And it takes 22 points of damage. But you do notice that like it seems to swirl faster. It seems to grow larger when you hit it. And the comments and the GIFs and the images and the reactions are all exponentially increasing. As chat comes back at you with a strike. That's 3. I think only 2 of those hit. Is your AC higher than 17?
It's 14.
Okay, so yeah, 2 of those hit. And so
Baby AC.
Danny takes 28 points of psychic damage as the swirling mass of chat slams you with like a reaction gif that just says lame, and it hits you and you take 27 points of damage, and it comes back to you. What do you do? So your first attack, you could tell that you damaged it, but it was almost as if like that fed it.
I like turned to Cord, who's with me, and I'm like, how do I get rid of it? How do I stop it for good?
What does it feed on?
Interaction?
Then starve it.
Oh, okay.
Invisible!
True. I have intangibility. I don't know if I have invisibility. I know I have
That's an able spell.
Yep, I took it because it looked like fun.
That's awful.
Yeah. I guess I will cast intangibility so they can't have any effect on me. That's actually sick.
Okay. So you cast intangibility, and that's your action. As then it kind of goes back to chat, and like you watch as like chat is trying to lash out at you, but it's having no impact. And as you are not feeding it with content, it begins to diminish. What do you do on your next round?
he's trying really hard not to interact. It is tough. He's gonna just like turn around totally.
Turn completely around, like
shut
look
his eyes.
Turn around and look away from chat.
Yep.
Give me a Arcana check with advantage.
Ooh, fun. I rolled a 20.
A 20. As you turn around, you're intangible. It's not able to hit you with its barbs and arrows and demands. You close your eyes to it completely. Out of sight, out of mind. Chat no longer exists. You feel this explosion of energy behind you as the 2 spell slots vanish, but they don't take any energy from you with it. As you're kind of kicked out of the game, and everyone in the arcade suddenly sees like this lightning bolt of energy escape from the farming simulator game, and it turns into a slag of metal and electrical parts as tickets just shoot into the air and fall in front of Danny, who's been kicked out of the game and is standing in front of it, but looks a little different.
Yeah, Danny emerges from the game, and he looks a little bit stronger, like physically stronger. You can tell he's got no magical facade up now. So even when he was trying to be natural, he still had that like photo smoothing filter type thing. But this is like freckles, blackheads, the whole uneven eyebrows, the whole thing. And he's kind of in like and this it's like almost like robes, and they're all white and gold. And he isn't holding the sword anymore. It's like a war hammer now. And
Nice.
he's got a little, like, his avatar now has like a little like gold halo around it.
How messed up is the machine, Josh?
It is. There's not much of a machine left. It's like sparking, and like whole parts of it are just kind of like overheating and slagging off to the side. The screen is like mostly shattered. It's just kind of like that white staticky like elements of parts of it. But it's in pieces.
Are you all right, Danny?
I feel different.
Like your new look.
I imagine you would. If you left anything in that machine, I don't think we're getting it out.
He's like holding his hands out, and there's like crackling energy between them. Yeah, I think I feel really good.
What exactly
It could
happened?
be like
in
a
that
human
machine?
defibrillator. Like if somebody has their heart stopped, you just and do it without having to use the box.
I'd still want to use the box.
Maybe
You
we should get out of
might,
here before they want us to pay for a replacement machine.
yeah, you might be surprised. All right,
Oh, we have to cash in our tickets.
yeah, go to the counter.
Okay, you guys head over to the counter, and there's a single Modron behind the counter who's kind of standing in front of like stuffed animals and like like, and they're all polygonal, random little pieces. And when you walk up, the Modron is like, well, I don't think anyone has ever earned 300 tickets by beating one of the single things before. You can earn the top prize for each of your victories if you want to spend all 300 of your tickets on it.
Sure.
Okay.
I think so.
So he kind of reaches up, and there's like 3 hanging objects at the back, and he like takes out like a pole, and he goes up and he kind of lifts them off the hangers, and he tosses each one of them to you. Kiv, when your piece hits you and you catch it, it kind of looks like part of a ventriloquist dummy, like half of a head, kind of but metal in structure, and then like maybe like a right arm with like joints and pieces. But the moment it touches you, it's almost like you're downloading, like something is downloaded into your system without like permission, and you flash for a moment, and Kiv, you see yourself standing in the middle of a chamber, and there is this tall blue-robed, white-haired, tan-skinned individual, like crackling with magical energy, and he is in the midst of casting a spell, and you see him kind of lifting his arms and spreading out, and you can tell like you're in some kind of chamber or hallway, but as he's cast the spell, like the roof is blown off of this, and you're looking out, and it's really weird. The city beyond is old school, like wooden buildings, wooden roofs, very simple construction, old, like very old cars and things walking around, but there is a couple buildings that you recognize very distinctly as like, that's like City Hall, Terminus, which is one of the older buildings in town. Like so you're looking at an old Terminus, and as he's casting this spell, the energy is building and building and building up, and you just see like this feeling like something is closing in around the world. It's not blocking out the sun, but you get this sense of like, there was this endless possibility of interaction and magic, and suddenly it's contained as this man is working this incredible work of magic. And that's when you notice, like, behind you, you just hear a voice that goes, I could do something like that someday. And you turn and you see kind of a gangly looking, nerdy, a young wizard who's just kind of taking notes as the other wizard, dynamic and magical, floating there, casting his incredible spell. And then you are thrown out of the vision, and you're sitting there holding the puppet in your hand again, as the Modron is getting ready to get the other objects. You do anything with that, Kiv?
Yeah, I recall the vision to the group. Do I recognize the
Is that Vecna?
slender, sickly looking gentleman? Is it Vecna?
So you
No. The apprentice. The apprentice was Vecna.
Yeah, you don't recognize
that's
the apprentice, because the apprentice's picture and names never appeared in any history books that you studied in your trainings. He doesn't
look like Vecna, or give us a...
So the Vecna that everyone knows, the Vecna that became powerful and amazing, was a Vecna who had already given himself over to becoming cybernetic. But you do recognize the other individual because there are statues to him in Terminus. He is a central component of Terminus history. You just witnessed the moment where Dyston, the wizard who enclosed the inner planes within a sphere of magical energy that contained all of the power and energy of the inner planes, and kept all of the power and energy of the outer planes away. You saw him enacting that incredible piece of magic.
So we witnessed a piece of history. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Anything else with that one?
No, nothing I can think of specifically. I mean,
Right.
Knowing the history, do we know what happened to him after his?
Yeah, so
I guess great feats.
Yeah, Dyston kind of became the father of modern Terminus. So with the power and energy all contained within the inner planes, he was able to construct much safer and cleaner connections between the material plane, the Feywild, the Shadowfell, the elemental planes, and many of the early corporations at the time took advantage of this, like went into the elemental plane of Earth and began to, get more materials and more resources than could have ever been achieved before. They went into the elemental plane of fire and set up geothermal energy that powered a technological revolution within Terminus. The
renewable energy for everyone.
Yeah, they maintained the supremacy of magic by kind of melding the Feywild's magical energies with the material plane, while limiting the divine powers beyond. So human magic grew exponentially without the interference of outer entities, and so you know that it was kind of like a lot of people are like. I mean, the Dyston Sphere is like the fall of the Roman Empire. It's like the turning point of modern history for Terminus.
Okay.
All right, reset the counter. Last time since I thought about the Roman Empire.
No. Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. I mean, it was 10 minutes ago for Atwood, but it's okay.
Yes.
No.
All right. So the Modron grabs down the next piece. And he chucks it over in your direction, Sarah G, and you catch it. And it is another piece of a puppet in some way, the other side of a head. But you can tell that like there is like a weird mechanical element to this. If you were to piece it all together, maybe like a clockwork piece or something where like maybe not a ventriloquist dummy, but maybe like a little bit of an automaton and a little bit of an arm. The moment you grab it, same feeling like something's downloaded into your brain, and you're standing in the middle of a impossibly large chamber. Like you're like an ant sitting in the middle of like the Pantheon in Rome. And there are enormous entities sitting around in a circle in chairs, and you suddenly find yourself in the middle of a conversation of theirs. And one of them speaks and says, these mages are always trying to do something to meet the power of the gods. They've never achieved it yet. What makes you think that this would work this time, Primus? And you kind of hear another voice, and this kind of more metallic, electronic, accompanied by the spinning of gears voice. And you turn to see at the throne, like right behind you, this massive creature that kind of looks a little like the puppet that you have, but at this enormous scale, with cords coming off of him connected into the ether of space and time. And he says, what you don't seem to understand, Zeus, is that these mortals have achieved something quite impressive with technology. The Modrons have been trying to warn you with their marches for years that clockwork, that technology can surpass even the powers of the gods. Dyston's early work only hints at the possibilities of containing and controlling the divine. You have a moment here to put forth an olive branch to humanity. What would you do with it? And you hear a couple other gods kind of grumble and talk in the background. And Zeus finally kind of sits back up, and there's a little bit of thunder, and he just says, we have never based ourselves to think about them as equals. Why would we go to them with an olive branch when they come to us with spear points and swords? We burn it down. Mechanus, that's how we always have done. And Primus kind of leans back in his chair. Well, it would be your loss then, I suppose, if he completes the work that he wants to do. And the conversation kind of fades out as you appear back in, the vision clearing from your brain, Sarah.
I, of course, tell everybody, and I give my piece to Kiv to see if he can fit them together.
Okay. Kiv, you try to piece them together. They do slot like perfectly together. And now you have like a complete head, a torso and shoulders, and 2 arms that are kind of just like loosely hanging there.
Like Metal Gear Solid energy, that conversation.
Yeah, a little bit.
Strange contraption will this build?
All right. The Modron kind of wrestles down the third piece, and Ronan, you put your tickets out, and he kind of hands it over to you. And you have a lower portion of a torso and a leg. And when you grab it, same thing. A vision is downloaded to you, and you see you're on like a boardroom or something like that, some space in Terminus. And you are witnessing a conversation between 2 individuals. One you recognize as Dyston, the wizard who put forth the Dyston's sphere. And then the other is kind of a cloaked individual with a hood up. And it is a younger Dyston. His beard is kind of brown with traces of white. His hair is the same. He's not wearing like the ornate robes that he's always depicted as in his work. He's kind of wearing more like work robes that are bloused and like tucked into work pants, like he's been on some kind of expedition or something. And you're catching in the middle of a conversation. Bless you. And Dyson is saying, it's not an attack upon the gods to conceive of such a potentiality. We are not beholden to you anymore. That is not a fault of yours or ours. You created us in such a way that we could one day rise as your equals. And you see the hooded figure kind of walks out and looks outside a window to Terminus beyond. And you can see that this is a Terminus that's in a construction phase. Not quite, it's still the wooden elements, but it's kind of like early New York City with the first skyscraper. Dyston's is the first skyscraper looking out at a city that's still very much like early 1900s, but with this new kind of view of everything. And the voice says, "We've worked hand in hand, Dyston, on many of your works. But I warn you that the gods do not see this as anything other than a threat. As a petulant child given a wondrous gift, and now using it to turn against their family, their parents." Dyston says, "When did the gods ever treat us as family?" And the individual kind of pulls their head back, and you see Coralon, a god of magic and mystery and wonder. And he says, "When have we ever not behaved as family, Dyston? Who taught you to write the early spells? Who taught you the wonders and the power of magic and the stars above, the weaves? Who has given you the tools that you now plan to turn against my brothers and sisters?" Dyson says, "I'm not turning it against you." And he says, "Don't you understand, Dyson, that what will happen when you do this? We feed on the prayers and loves of you. Without that, what do we become? And without our guidance, what do you become?" And the vision ends, and you're pulled back, Ronan, with the piece in your hand.
Ooh, yes, this is starting to make a lot of sense, and I'll relate what happened.
No, I think that one guy had a point.
Mm-hmm.
No, I should be on the god side. My bad. No. He's right. The gods definitely got starved out. That's not good. Sorry, Cord.
Starvation isn't good for anyone.
Sorry.
Trust me.
Yeah.
All right. The final Modron, the final pieces drop down in your hands, Danny, after you hand in your tickets.
What are we putting together here? I'm apprehensive.
Gundam.
It's a
Thinking of
Gundam.
Primus. Just kind of like the way that Bellerophon was like the little lizard. I think we're making Primus.
Mm-hmm. Use this
All
as a
right,
symbol.
let's.
And now,
All right.
a little tech support.
The final piece is handed over to you, Danny. And you kind of hold it for a moment and the image crosses and you find yourself kind of like if you could find yourself in the CPU of a super massive computer, you're like at the heart of that. And there is this kind of floating head there with an endless number of hair tendrils that are connecting out into ether space with energy and information flowing in from all points. And you just are hearing it have a conversation with itself as Mechanus, the entity of Mechanus powered here by Primus is talking to itself. Dyston was able to complete his task. We are no longer tied to the mortal plane. The early stages are war, of course. Gods of different pantheons fighting for what elements of power still exist within their realms. Next will come the famine and the hunger. What remains of us who created them? We could have done better, but Zeus didn't want to listen. And you start to see...
Sounds like Zeus from what I know about him. So.
You start to see like the tendrils of energy are like beaming blue, but like one goes dark and then another goes dark and then another goes dark as the connection with the power source of Primus is slowly decaying and falling to nothing. And you pull out.
Okay. Is Primus like in the room fully assembled now? Did it like...
You guys want to finish putting him together?
Yeah.
So you manage to kind of piece the leg parts together and then slot it in with the upper torso components. It's very much a 1990s Megazord construction here.
Mm-hmm.
And you have in your hands Kiv, about 1.5 foot tall kind of ventriloquist robot type creature, and it's just kind of loosely hanging there. It doesn't have any like life to it.
Are there any double A's behind the counter?
The Modron says, "What are double A's?"
Okay, never mind.
Is there a
Maybe
gap
Danny can
where
give it a little
something is missing?
shock.
I'm looking for a USB port.
No, so it is a purely like once you piece it all together, like the seams where it was joined together seem to almost vanish, and it is a pristine. There's no like openings or casings that you can remove. It seems like it is fully contained without any spaces to put in anything in.
Ask the Mojang, is there like an activation word or
I don't know what that is. It's just the win.
I think Ronan had a good idea about seeing if Danny could if Danny could zap it.
Oh, also, when times are tough for gods, maybe we should pray.
That's a pretty good idea too. We pray to the puppet or
You
Yes.
prayed to Prime.
Primus.
Whatever it's called, Primus. Yeah. I like put my hands together and I'm like, dear Primus, I love technology so much. Thank you for everything. You're very cool. I appreciate it.
oh,
I'm so glad I
technological
exist in a
Primus.
time that has
Come to
AirPods.
us.
Yeah.
Can I try to pray in binary?
Do you, yeah, you because you have technological background, you can, yeah. Mm.
Okay. Would that be an Arcana roll or what?
Everyone will be making rolls who's making prayers, so I'll give it to you in a second, Ronan. Sarah, do you release any kind of prayer or do anything?
Yeah.
Okay. So for Kiv and Danny, make just a straight religion check as you're doing prayers. Ronan, do an Arcana check. Oh, and Sarah G, do a religion check as well.
Religions.
Which is funny because my religion isn't that good and I'm
a cleric.
A cleric.
I got a 2.
7.
My prayer is very disingenuous, honestly.
I got a 22.
A 22. Ronan?
I'm trying to see if my thing applies to this. No, so a 4.
A 4. Okay. So there's a kind of spattering of like prayers. None of you are super familiar with Primus or like what Primus is like overseas in the realms of being a god. And your prayers kind of going out. But Danny, having a direct connection to a deity of some kind, you're praying to Primus, but it's almost like you're praying to Cord, and this kind of energy wells up. Each of you see like a small element fly out of you, like that little orb of prayer kind of flies out. But when Danny's prayer goes, it's almost a larger orb rises and collects the others into you, and they fall into Primus. And you see for a moment like the puppet like goes from loose to more rigid, and needs something else to kind of set them off.
All right, now we try charging it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go up to it, and I'm gonna cast. So Danny walks up to it, and he casts something you haven't seen him cast before, and he's gonna cast Thunder Wave on it.
Okay. This energy kind of flies out from Danny and like hits the puppet, and the puppet like shakes in a moment. But then suddenly like this lightning begins to course around it, and Primus begins to grow. And you see from all of the games around the arcade, these like cords or pipes basically kind of fly out and fly back to the back of his head, and they each begin to kind of go into his head, almost like now hair flowing out around him as he's kind of lifted off the ground, as like the roof of the arcade vanishes as more of these cords fly from all over the motherboard here at the center of Mechanus.
I cast Mending.
And you repair the damage that's done to him, and he kind of rises and grows and grows and grows until eventually like the puppet kind of seems to fade away, and then kind of pulling down and looking at you, this 3D projection of this giant head of Primus, the ocular units or eyes kind of opening, and then kind of looking down at each of you. Huh. I told them that humans would save us eventually.
Here we are.
Continue to underestimate you. Does this mean... what? Why are you here?
We kind of got shunted out here because Vecna is trying to make a power play. Like, explain what happened.
Vecna was the apprentice wizard to Dyston, the chosen of Corellon, who decided that it was better to separate from his god. Vecna, he was nothing. You're saying he's done something remarkable?
Well, you give him 500 years.
And without us watching and making sure that he didn't rise to such an occasion. Well, you seem to have restored my functionalities, but not the power source. So the sphere still exists?
Yes.
And you're not here to destroy it?
I mean, we're open to destroying it, maybe. The gods have been
Need
pretty
be.
kind to us. Danny like flexes.
Well, suppose that the only final piece then is to see if that's your goal. Can I do something for any of you, considering that you've restored me to myself? He kind of looks at you, Sarah G.
As we've been going through, everyone's been getting tethered because when we got here, we were untethered and we've been advancing around from zone to zone to zone. And everyone else is tethered except me.
Oh, that's simple enough. And he kind of, like the projection of him, a hand appears and it points out in your direction. And this like single like beam of energy kind of flies out and lands in front of you and begins to take shape. What would be an anchor for Sarah G and what form would it take?
A med bag.
A med bag. So as it kind of rotates around you, you hear like the meow of Supercat as it kind of is moving around your ankles as this energy coalesces and a medical bag appears with your name across it and your new role and title that Ronan has set up for you as a practitioner, as a nurse. And you kind of can put that on and you suddenly feel the energy bind you and you are all now here tethered.
Okay, what next? How do we get home?
Well,
And still stop Vecna.
You'd have to go to the outer limits, deal with whatever is there. I imagine if Vecna tried to come through, he would be there first. But it would be
Love to
the
beat him up
closest
again.
space for you to get back to your plane of existence. But there may be someone there who can provide you with a little more assistance in making sure that your excursion is a success.
I think
Okay.
we should- Yes, let's find them first.
Okay.
Works for me.
He kind of makes a motion and you feel like the energy in the chamber, it can expand and almost like a wormhole opening in space. You all see this spinning vortex of energy appear at the back of the arcade. And he kind of motions towards it and says, "The outer limits await for you there. Whatever you decide." And he kind of motions, and you all feel like this energy kind of hit you as he imparts a gift to the crew in thanks. And you can walk through the portal to the outer limit.
Yeah.
As you walk through, the portal closes behind you and you step out onto a metallic surface. You can hear this kind of clang. But it's very strange that your feet are walking and it's making the sounds of walking on metal. But when you look down, you are not walking on a metallic surface. You are walking on pure arcane energy and essence. This object is solidified arcana, made into metal almost, but still coursing with magic and runes. And you can you're on this structure and you can see it like rise up beyond you and then bend off ahead. When you turn around in any direction, it's going around in any direction. It doesn't take any kind of guessing for you to guess that the outer limits is the edge of the Dyston sphere, and you are currently walking up upon it. Looking out, you do see off in the distance what looks like ramshackle buildings or tents or a smattering of like somebody has built or established some kind of outpost here on the edges of the Dyston sphere.
Whose outpost would that be?
I mean, I have to get close to find out.
Oh.
Enemy run!
Anime run. Yeah, so you all kind of make your way, and it's strange. It's like you feel like you're walking, but it's almost as if you are standing in place and that your motion is rotating the sphere. And so it's kind of pulling beneath you and the objects are rotating around towards you, but it doesn't, because it's such an immense space and there's no frame of reference, you just get this feeling like the ground is rotating and while you walk, like you're on a massive treadmill. And you eventually get to the outer edges of this outpost begin to take form in front of you, and you see like tents and structures and buildings and towers, and it's like somebody just like ripped elements from random places and just like set them down here. But as you are approaching, a couple individuals standing near the entrance kind of rise up, and you see wings like flash out behind them. Halt! Who goes there? No one has approached the outpost. And who are you?
I'm Sargene, and this is Ronan, and this is Kev, and this is Danny.
We're about to say, we're the ticket takers.
He says,
the angel's like, isn't that a stream?
He says, yeah, that's not helpful in this sense. Who are you? What is your purpose here at the Outer Limits?
Are you like a guard?
Yes.
Why?
My master's within.
Are you sure they're still there?
Of course.
I like
Well, then
turned.
let's go see them.
I like casually turned to everyone, and I'm like, I think we might have to kill this guy.
I mean,
I don't know how to tell all of you this, but I'm not good at negotiating anymore. It's kind of hard to explain. But I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can fake it anymore.
Let you in.
Yes.
What is your purpose here?
to save all of the multiverse, basically.
Yeah, we're trying to get back home, so like.
And home for you is what plane of existence?
Prime material, the other side of this thing.
He kind of takes a step back. He kind of looks at the other, the angel next to him. I think this is beyond our pay grade. And then he's like,
Will you let us in?
We can't answer any questions that you have. And he kind of just like moves to the side and he motions for you. And he says, but be careful. You will be watched while you're within.
Okay,
We
thanks.
live in a society where we're always watched. We're used to that.
And you kind of walks past and they're like looking at you as you go by. And then you just kind of hear one of them look over to the other one. He says, were they mortal? And the other one goes, I think that they were. What are they doing here? And as you walk in, and it's odd, like you were walking out on like the Dyson sphere, that element of magic. And as you walk through here, you just see like there's no real gaps in the magical construction of the sphere, but every now and then you just see like an osmosis of some kind of energy that is coming from the other side of the sphere and just like rises up as like a little droplet and then evaporates into the space right here where this outpost is built. And you're kind of seeing that happen every now and then as you walk through the streets. And as you kind of get through, you notice there's like a huge tent off to one side that's super dramatic and draped with like all kinds of different colors. Like off to the very side of that, there's this enormously tall tower that rises up into nothingness beyond, so tall that you can't really see the top of it. There is like a rock that just seems to have been slammed down here that has a cave in the side of it with torches lighting it. You're passing by all these kind of structures.
The allegory.
The allegory of the cave. But the only people that you see on the streets bear the appearance of like those angels. And you do see like a couple little devils or demons running around, but there's no like city or civilization here. It's just these like very strange structures that were ripped out of space and time. And then the individuals kind of running from one of them to the other, or just kind of gently surveying through the space, and that constant like occasional stream of evaporating energy from the top of the sphere.
Okay. Is that where we need to go?
But there's many opportunities. There's many spaces here. It's not like there's not like a central location. It's like people just dumped buildings here without any rhyme or reason.
I think we should look for the individual we need to find first before we really get into the big buildings. So what about the tent? Do you want to go to the tent first?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you approach the tent, and as you get closer to it, you start to hear kind of like music kind of pouring out of it. And there are a couple small little creatures sitting around the outside of the tent that kind of look like satyrs. They're half goat, half man. And they do not seem to be very like, they're not like worried about your approach, but they're also not like immediately popping up and addressing anything to you. You just notice that like each of them are like drinking out of these like wine skins, and they have like a like large hookah that they're sharing between each other as they're sitting outside of this tent.
Okay.
It doesn't say
They
Lady
seem
Miss Mirrors, does it?
No, it just-
All back.
Love it.
They seem inconsequential, right? We'll just keep moving.
I mean, I don't know what you're calling inconsequential.
Oh, they can hear me. Not you.
If you're
Little
standing
guy.
right beside them,
Sound carries really well
there's-
here.
echo.
Yeah, we're just passing through. Excuse us. Sorry.
You're passing through, and that means you're heading into a tent.
We're looking for someone.
Do they have a name?
Did we get
Yes.
their name? Yep.
We did.
We don't know what it is, but they have a
We
name.
don't know.
Oh.
They do. Yes.
It's really good. Names are really important. If you don't have a name, you don't, have a thing.
Yeah, indeed.
What are they smoking?
Yeah, how's this wine? This is was it
No.
The
wine?
wine is like a deep burgundy red. There's just clouds of smoke drifting off of them. It smells like hookah, but they are not reacting like it's hookah, so you're not quite sure, Ronan.
Probably not hookah then.
Can I use a medicine check to see what drugs they're on?
Sure, absolutely. You can make a medicine check.
Oh my god.
I rolled a 15 plus 14. So 29.
So you can't, I mean, like the smell doesn't seem familiar or whatever, but it definitely gives the impression of like when you've interacted with people who've been on like salvia or something like that, like they've got that energy, which is like a lack of energy really. But they're clearly smoking something that's not native to Terminus, but it seems to be having that similar kind of effect on them.
So they're good and baked.
I mean, yeah, this is the metacognition of the character answering the question that Rob just asked the GM. I mean, you can have some if you want, but we're kind of limited.
Who's inside the tent?
Oh, it's this is the tent of Millil. Millil. The name is weird to say when your tongue feels like it's 3 times the size of your mouth. Millil, god of music. You're the one who likes to listen to the songs, one who shared the music with the world. And you know what happened when they decided to cut off from Millil? They came up with dubstep.
I like dubstep.
Josh setting up a dig at dubstep. 6-7 episodes long.
Love it.
That's been the entire purpose of this.
Oh, the whole thing
Yeah,
is like fuck
yeah.
dubstep.
I'm gonna build hours of mythology so that I can get one over on dubstep.
Yeah, but the satyrs are standing outside, and Milil, the god of music, in the Faerun deity pantheon of the multiverse of D&D.
Will they give me some wine if I ask them?
Yeah, he's here. Like, and he like takes out,
cool.
like he waves his hand and a glass appears and he pours a little bit of wine into the glass and hands it to you.
I don't know why I wasn't religious for so long. The gods are awesome.
Yeah, we are.
Will we be getting drunk right
They
now?
are.
No, I'm just drinking a little wine. I'm not gonna get drunk just from wine.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
I knew it. I saw that coming a mile away.
I got a 13.
13. It hits you immediately, and you're like more than a few sips of this would be a bad idea. Yeah.
Okay, I give it a Kiv. Here you go, Kiv. You should have some too.
Kiv, do you take the wine?
Relax some kid.
Roddy, do you take the wine?
No, I'll pass. I don't know these blue guys. I've just insulted them. They could have spiked it. I'm good.
I pour the rest back into the satyr's cup. Thank you.
More for me.
Yeah, you enjoy that. 2 downers, Great idea.
Are you guys looking for Milil? Are you looking for anyone in particular?
Not entirely sure who we're looking for, but it can't hurt to talk to Malil.
Oh, well, I mean, he's just in there. He hasn't played an instrument in 500 years. He's real depressed. So he might like the company.
Okay. We'll go see if he knows who we're looking for.
We'll talk to Malil.
Okay. So you guys head inside and you see like this well-apportioned tent, cushions everywhere. There's just the sound of music drifting through the air, but it's like if music couldn't be stale and old. It's like it's air that's been circulating in this space for a long time without a refresh or an open window. And you see kind of just at the back, sitting, holding a harp in his hands, but not strumming it or playing it, but just sitting and holding it. You see the entity kind of skinny, wearing loose robes, no glow or grandeur about him. But there's every now and then like one of those little like dispensations of energy from the Dyston sphere kind of rises up within the tent, and he just kind of like waves it and it flies over to him and he kind of breathes it in for a moment, and then he kind of goes back to staring at nothing and not playing an instrument.
It's real sad in here.
This guy makes Ronan look happy.
Yeah, like
Sarah starts singing.
Oh no, I was gonna do like the really depressing, sad like Irish pub songs.
What, you're not helping. What are you doing?
Yeah, Sarah just starts singing. Her singing voice sounds like Hayley Williams, because this is a fantasy world and it can be anything. And he's awesome.
Yep.
Adorable.
And she just starts singing some song she knows.
Okay. Go ahead and make a performance check.
Can she sing I'm Walking on Sunshine and cheer up a crusty god?
Rolled a natural 19.
Oh my god, she can.
Plus 4 for performance, so
She's
23.
Incredible.
Okay. So as Sarah begins to sing, it's strange. Like there was music already in the space. And usually if somebody starts singing and it's like there's music already, but you're singing a different song, there's going to be some discordance there. But it's almost as if like the very nature of the space begins to shift and change. And the ambient music is matching Sarah G's singing, and is providing backing for that. And you just kind of see like for Malil, who's just kind of sitting there and staring forward, kind of sits back and finally looks up. That is new.
nods and keeps singing.
Where does it come from? Please.
Do I recognize the song
Yeah, sure.
that Sarah sings?
It would be a popular enough song based on the person that Rob says that Sarah G sings like.
I think I heard it playing on the hospital PA in the break room.
Yeah. So you recognize the song. So Milo's like, where does this song come from?
I don't know about that, but probably. I mean, Motown went away like decades ago.
Yeah.
So
okay, so here's the thing. It's from the material plane. And we have other songs we know that we could show you. You know, revitalize you a bit here. We're just looking for someone. So if you could help us find that person, we could sing a little song for you. It'd be a great little exchange here.
Are you looking for anyone in particular?
Yes, but the details are a little fuzzy.
Well, if you can tell me your goal, I'm such a minor god, but I could potentially guide you in the right direction.
I turn to the others and I'm like, I think we can tell them. I mean, they're not going to get us in trouble.
yes, let's tell.
Okay. So our goal is to fight Vecna and also maybe also reopen the material plane to everyone and fuck up that dome.
Okay. Well, I feel like then you need to go to the tower. He's been watching very carefully to see if there was a change. He may know if someone came through or if there's a threat.
Who's he?
Oh, Ogama. Kind of a god of knowledge and understanding of everything.
Sounds like a useful person.
Yeah.
Yes. His tower is everywhere and nowhere all at the same time, but I think it's next door.
Beware and nowhere but next to. Okay. All right. We'll
Like knowledge.
we'll go find that.
And I play a little bit on my phone and I'm like, this is dubstep. And it's actually fucking great, okay? Those satyrs are stuck up, is what I'm gonna say right now in this space. That's just perfect for the club or zoning out or dancing with someone you don't know and you only like a little bit.
The ambient music kind of becomes dubstep, and he's
Yes.
just like, he's
God.
like, it's not pleasant,
Okay, well I tried.
but it's new.
It is new.
Molly Malone? Do you know Molly Malone?
Molly Malone, no.
Okay, how about is that Chaperone? I put it on Chaperone.
You
equivalent.
HOTTOT.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is a Pink Pony Club situation.
Pink Pony Club? Okay.
Yes.
You
I'll
leave
win
with that?
Red Wine Supernova. Gods would love that.
Red,
Okay,
white,
yeah,
and supernova. They would
Yes.
definitely love it. So you kind of play some more music, and accompanied with Sarah's singing, you can see like Malil's coming out of his stupor, and for just a moment, like he kind of reaches up and like plays a single chord on his harp, and like both of the satyrs kind of like pull the flaps and look in, just like, what did you guys do?
It's the song of the summer.
Okay.
I think it's called a brat summer. It's a brat summer.
Please do not say that, Ronan. I'm begging you to not say that right now.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I mean, thanks. Malil's been really out of it. You guys seem to have brought him back a little bit.
Well, hopefully it'll get even better.
Okay.
Malil.
And they kind of go back out to smoking and drinking their wine.
All right, we'll go find Ogama.
Yeah. And the tower that's everywhere but nowhere but next door.
Yes.
Just like knowledge.
Just
Say
like
the most-
knowledge.
The most freaking Neil Gaiman sentence that ever was.
So you kind of walk out, and you do notice that like there is a tower next door that wasn't there in your memory before, but like it looks like something that you have seen before, and so you kind of go next door, and the door like opens, like it's expecting you.
Mm-hmm.
When you say tower, is this like Wizard's Tower, or is this like Hitomi Tower, or whatever it was from Die Hard? Nakatomi.
Nakatomi Plaza.
Nakatomi Plaza.
It's kind of like a wizard's tower, but like if like Howl's Moving Castle was stationary, it's kind of has that image. Like it's just like a smorgasbord of things all piled in on each other, it's
a zoning violation.
Yeah, zoning violation. But the door opens, and like you are beckoned in by the fact that the door opened for you. And when you enter in, you just hear a voice just say, have a seat in the lounge. I'll be down in just a minute. And you all find yourself in like a very well apportioned apartment. There's comfy couches and chairs. There's a table with nice dining room style furniture there, and you can sit wherever you like within the space or stand and wait, but you are welcome to sit.
Get the comfy chair.
Yeah.
Right. So a moment later, this kind of older gentleman comes down, dark skinned, a wreath of white hair around a kind of a balding crown, and he kind of steps out and he looks at each of you and he says, well, I never thought that mortals would come visit us again. This is such a lovely day. How are you all doing today?
His voice
Ace has gone bye-bye for a while.
so good.
It's a Bob Ross voice.
You just gotta visit sometimes, and you can come and hang out in my neighborhood anytime you like.
Are you
say there.
Say there?
Oh my
Okay,
god.
there
Are you Okama?
Yeah. Like a
Apostrophe.
guy who likes good stories, likes good knowledge, just likes to share things like that with people.
We have some stories for you.
Really? Well, here, I brought refreshments for you. And he kind of waves a hand, and this tray flies out to the middle of the table. And then like little teacups fly off of the tray and into each of your hands. And then small little saucers of like cookies and sweet treats kind of appears next to each of you. He says, eat up. You have all had a long journey ahead of you, behind you, and potentially ahead of you. And I would love to hear you tell me more about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start from the beginning and just roll through all that we've gone through together.
The moment you start telling the story, like next to his head, this book appears, and it begins to like write and draft, and you're seeing like the Reading Rainbow version of your journey illustrated and like written out into a book as it's flipping its pages, almost like you're reading him a bedtime story. And like, this is the story that he's telling you. And
okay, now he's LeVar Burton in my head. He was Bob Ross.
he's I'm going to tell you that he's LeVar Burton. He is Mr. Rogers. He is Bob Ross in my. He's like all of these entities like together. He's like, that is the most exciting story that I've heard in a long time. Mortals get up to such weird things sometimes.
Do you miss it? What mortals get up to?
All the time. We haven't had any really new stories in so long. You all tell the best ones.
Because of that dome, right?
You tell the best ones because you die. What's the dome have to do with that?
the dome is keeping you from hearing any of our stories.
Yes. We get little snippets like, and you see like one of the, like a little orb of dispensation energy flies off of the dome underneath and dissipates, and he kind of waves it up. And whereas Malil like breathed it in, he waves it up and you just see it like turn into words in the air above him. And it says, I would like a roast beef pastrami loaf sandwich. And then it fades away and he's like, that guy's got to be having a really good day.
Okay, in my head now, the thing Malil like inhaled when we walked in was, I've got a structured settlement and I need cash now.
Yeah, just like a little piece. Just a little piece of that. Yep.
That's all that's been making it. There's the only thing powerful enough to bust the barrier.
Yep.
Coming off JG Wentworth for the last 200 years.
But you see,
so what we're saying,
go ahead. You're just seeing like these little, like anytime one of those orbs pops up, he's like adding to books, but you can see that like the books that he's adding to are so like piecemeal or basic or not complete or not epic and not exciting. But he's just like grabbing what he can from the lives of mortals to stay alive here on the Outer Limits.
When was the last time you had a really good story?
Well, friend, about 10 minutes ago when you shared yours.
Well, I mean, before that.
Oh, probably 500 years or so.
Okay, so no one else has come through here and told you a really good story since then?
Well, you said that there was somebody trying to make their way through or to do something. He didn't succeed yet. There's weird energy happening on the sphere, though.
Is it concentrated in one particular area?
Kind of not how the sphere works. If you saw magic the way that we do, you'd understand that the sphere is made up of the same recurring elements over and over and over again, but weaved in such a pattern as to create it and to be almost unbreakable. We've tried. Zeus
what does almost mean?
Almost unbreakable? Well, I imagine there's nothing that's eternal. Even gods can fade away and die.
But you had no luck cracking this thing?
No. All of the ones with strength and power have thrown everything they can at it. Tiamat breathed fire at it for 6 years straight. Lots of lightning bolts, lots of rage, lots of anger. I tell stories to it sometimes. It's not super effective. But we haven't made a dent yet. But something's working on it from the inside. The spell is changing a little bit. Or the spell was changed before.
Well, we would like to get rid of the spear, but not necessarily while helping that person, if that makes sense. Because their goals are bad.
Well,
instead of breaking it, maybe an exit door or something like that.
I could give you a couple choices. I mean, I think the very most, I still want to help mortals because even little stories come through. And another one like flies up and he like grabs it and throws it into a book. And he's like, they're taking a taxi downtown. I hope they find their love. And then he looks back to you.
Sad. This is so sad. Oh, God, this is worse than that depressed guy from earlier.
He says, I'm happy to, we're here on the sphere. You're mortal. You can return home anytime you like. You've got the blessings of some gods. You can make that happen. But if you would like to open a hole, as you say, in the sphere, let a little bit of that divine energy in, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Is that what all of you want?
That's what I want.
I'm fine with it.
I think that only seems fair.
Okay.
I mean, because like if the whole thing went away, like your town would just fall into nothingness, and people could get hurt, and too much of an energy and too much change would throw both worlds into destabilization. So getting something where a gateway where communication can start again, and this way. It seems to me the last time when Zeus didn't listen, based on the visions we had, that maybe that conversation could start because there's the balance of the power structure is more the same, and that way things can happen that are best for both people.
I think that's definitely a possibility. It's always a good thing when people learn to talk to one another.
And I cannot lose my connection to Cord.
Well, no, you would be nothing without that. Or you wouldn't have the power that you have now.
Oh, Danny would be something without that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to imply that Danny is an amazing person, but without the powers to do it. Mm-hmm.
It would be bad without it. I'll go back to how it was.
Well, so you were each given a gift that anchored you. We can use that. And he kind of waves a hand, and the calm apartment that you found yourselves in kind of fades for a moment, and you find yourself sitting on the Dyston sphere surface, the tower distant above you. And he says, well, powers of mortals, powers of a few gods put together. Let's see if we can work a little magic here. Kiv, your sword. There. And he points to the ground, and you see a rune appear floating just above the Dyston sphere's surface. And he's kind of motioning towards it.
Pick it up, or?
Your sword was your anchor, correct? Gifted to you by Bahamut?
Yes, that's true.
Then you stab it in there.
Sword in the okay, yeah. You can do that.
Okay. Go ahead.
Draw my sword and plunge it into the thing.
You see like sparks and light fly out of the rune, but where you would think that the sphere would deflect it because you're walking on the sphere, it seems to slide through, almost like when you put tape over a balloon that's filled with water and you stab it, that like the tape holds it together and doesn't pop the balloon. You've stabbed into the outside of the Dyston sphere. He kind of looks over and he says, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
A coin, I believe.
Right.
And a rune appears on the ground above the sphere.
I press the coin to it.
It kind of presses in, and you see this pulse of energy fly out from that. He makes another motion and puts it over on the other side. Ronan, what was gifted to you? I don't know if we ever discussed what Ronan's anchor was.
Not really, no.
I thought yours was the stethoscope, right?
Oh, that's right, the stethoscope. Yep.
Yeah. That's right.
So you can. There's a rune appears for your stethoscope. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you press it, and this energy flies out.
Mm-hmm. No. Okay, never mind.
Mm-hmm. Sarah G, medical bag, I believe. And a rune appears, and Ogman's at the center of this, and as you're setting them down, these lines begin to connect the runes, and he's kind of directing them almost like a writer is writing, sentences of a story, or a storyteller is communicating lines, and you're kind of watching. The door is open, or will be. It's hard to shut afterwards. I'll give you a moment to make a final choice. I can send you through. Close this all behind you. You've met Bahamut and Tyr. You've met Cord, Primus, myself, Malil. You haven't met Asmodeus and Grumpsh. You haven't met discord and chaos and fear. I can't keep them out. You either take us all or none.
The truth is, all the things they represent are still there in our world anyway.
Yeah, can't be much worse than capitalism, honestly. So.
That's the whole point of Terminus.
Yep. There's the clip for this episode, Josh. There you go.
It can't be worse than capitalism.
Can't be worse than capitalism.
Yeah. He says, okay. Well, powerful gods, powerful entities, powerful new friends. Good luck. And he snaps a finger, and each of you feel like this energy wash over you, and you are sucked, almost like when you have a pressure differential and suddenly like the pipe clears and you're just sucked through. You feel your energies pulled into that space that was opened. There's no like actual opening in the sphere, but there is now a break between the outer planes and the inner planes at just the smallest of points on this massive interplanar entity of a space, and you are pulled through. And when you open your eyes, Kiv, your radio beeps. Kiv, is everyone in place? You recognize the voice of Rory Light.
Are we in place? Are we good to go for
You're looking
mission?
around, and you are at the end of a hallway, looking up the hallway towards the entrance to Kefka's chamber. And you remember the last time that you were in this exact position, there was like a hold, and like you guys waited a moment so that breaching charges could be set up. You waited a moment so that security could be cleared out in other levels of the area. But Rory Light is reaching out to make sure that your group is in position.
We're currently in position.
Maybe we should go ahead and go, because they were expecting us last time.
Wait,
Yeah.
Sarah G.
I would advise we go now.
No,
Yes, now.
you guys had 30 minutes, but you have to hold. The other team's not in place yet.
We need to go now.
Need to go now.
Don't worry, we got
just-
this.
Trust us.
Danny, when you say "Don't worry, you got this," you just hear in your head, "Don't we ever?" As Cord's voice kind of sings out to you a little bit.
Yes.
And with Rory Light telling you, like, hold, you all charge forward towards the door. There's no breaching charges, so there's no way to open the door. How do you get the door open without an explosion?
So
I kick it
Danny,
open.
What kind of lock is it?
It is so it's like a digital mechanical lock on the side.
I'll start dealing with the mechanical side with my thieves' tools and let Danny hack on their end.
Okay.
I mean, Kiv is the hacker, but the hacker,
Or whoever-
weaponer.
I'm all strength. If you have
Ronan's the hacker. Yep.
Yeah, I'll hack it.
Okay. So go ahead and make a slide. Both of you slide a hand checks.
And Ronan, you get guidance.
Ooh. That's D4.
Guidance.
Actually, give me the guidance, and I'll give Ronan guidance.
Guidance.
Just throwing guidance
See,
around.
Sarah G.
And
So
I give Ronan
you see
guidance.
you see Dan gives you guidance. He's like, "You're doing a good job, Sarah."
Danny, I mean, Ronan, I believe in you.
Thanks. I believe in you too. So I got a. What was that? I got a 24.
Okay, 24. And then Sarah G.
I rolled really crappy, but I have plus 12 because I have expertise in sleight of hand, so that's a dirty 20.
So
I
you
rolled a 6 and a 2.
So you, at the exact moment that Ronan is breaking the digital, hacking the digital side, you're hacking the mechanical piece, and they unlock simultaneously. The door like comes off its hinges a little bit. Do you burst in? Do you sneak in? How do you approach?
Right in
look
the-
back at Ronan. Look back at Kiv and Danny and see what they want to do.
say let's-
Charge in.
I say let's fuck them up.
Okay. Kiv and Danny go up to the doors at the same time, kick them open, and just as we'll do a
Hey,
freeze
Josh,
frame here.
I want
go
to
ahead.
blind shoot too, because we remember where they maybe were.
Sure,
standing.
absolutely. We'll pick up there with that
Yep.
the next one. But at this moment, kicking the doors open, this lightning energy crackling around Danny, Kiv brandishing his laser sword.
And then the echo pops up right next to
Echo
us.
appearing in the air and flying outward from there. Sarah G with a gun, probably pulling up the rear. And
It's like thieves' tools back, gun out.
yep, Ronan with his crossbows bursting in as you see, in the last stages of drawing a runic circle, two wizard apprentices of Vecna look up, and you don't see Vecna in the chamber yet. And that's where we will pick up next week, with the added caveat that because you decided to work with the gods and open the portal, you are briefly blessed with a power of the gods, and each of you go to level 20.
Level 20?
So that'll give you
Shit.
because you were 15. Yeah. So you go to level 20, and you have so you give you a little bit of time to choose your spells, look over your abilities and things for that jump. But you have
shit.
the blessing
Nice.
of 4 gods.
Oh my gosh.
The blessings of the gods.
And we'll face off.
Level 17 Life Cleric, level 3 Rogue, which I just realized I have something called Wails from the Grave, which lets me do extra damage to a second person when I sneak attack. It's like, oh, I completely forgot about that
Yep.
ability. It's not
What kind of
much,
rogue
but
is
every
that?
bit helps.
Yeah.
Particularly if someone's
type of
trying to
rogue is
maintain a
that?
concentration track.
What kind of rogue is that?
It's immediately after sneak attack, target a second creature that you can see within 30 feet of the first creature, and you roll half your sneak attack damage rounded up in necrotic damage.
What
You can use this
what subclass
feature a
is
number
that?
of times. Pardon?
What subclass is that?
Phantom.
Yeah, Phantom's
Okay, nice.
a Phantom Thief.
Gotta check out Phantom Rogue.
Did you figure out what Danny is? Yep.
Paladin?
No.
Not a paladin.
Eric?
You've now switched, so you're like a.
It's something.
I was thinking Paladin too. I don't know.
But yeah,
It's not a paladin.
all the warlock is gone, burnt out,
Yep.
replaced by Cord,
And seemingly all the bard too.
and all the bar.
Yeah, but he got rid of all of that. That is all a gimmick. That's why he's like, I can no longer talk to this man. I don't have that in me.
No.
I
All
can't.
right, I got to run help the wife with an audition.
absolutely.
All right.
Um,
Oh, tell her I said hi.
Looking
Tell her I
forward
said
to
hi.
next week.
Yep.
Will
See you
do.
for the conclusion next week, guys.
Yeah.
All right.